Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Bradley's House, the podcast. I am your co-host, Jarett Orr, joined alongside my BVF and the EFD, Kellie Noel. Kellie, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, but not entirely sure what those acronyms stand for. Maybe we could talk about it later.
Well, Kellie, I'll tell you the first one. You're my best virtual friend.
Oh, thank you, Jarett.
You down with BVD?
That's awesome.
Yeah, you know me.
Kellie, we're already having a lot of fun, and I am super excited about the show that we have going for the listeners today. Why don't you tell everybody who's hanging out with us today in Bradley's house?
I would be happy to. I was thinking earlier about how I was going to introduce these two, and the first thing that came to my mind was these are some of my most favorite people, and I realized I've said that about every guest we've had on so far, but that's only because we happen to be having all my favorite people on our podcast. So I feel super fortunate in that regard. But quite literally, I have so much respect for these two, not just as people, but as businessmen, as artists, just as people, as human beings, really. I absolutely love what they stand for. I love the way that they carry themselves, the way that they do business, the way they interact with people. I've learned so much from them. And I feel super honored to not only be their friends, but also have them on the board of the Noel Family Foundation. So I'm here with Paul Milbury, the general manager of Law Records, and Yesod Williams, the drummer for Pepper and part owner of Law Records and like 42 other things. I'm not entirely sure. But here we are with Paul and Yesod.
Thank you guys so much for having us. Seriously, that the kind words and the honor of everything is... We will spend the rest of our lives, me and Paul, searching for the words of our gratitude for this whole process. And then you reminding us of just being included in the board nowadays and everything. It's literally just some of the most mind-blowing just thing ever. And yeah, thank you is what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, guys, let's get right down to it. Paul, we'll start with you. We know how much Brad has meant to the music scene and to the listeners of this show, and I've talked a little bit about the story of Sublime and what it's meant to me. When somebody says Bradley Noel to you, what comes to mind?
Wow, that's an amazing question. Just an amazing talent and a transformer of music. I mean, he was a huge introduction for me personally, as I'm sure he was for many people, to so many different styles and bands in general. I still, while we're doing this process, I'm finding songs that were influenced by other bands that Brad, brought to our attention. Just an incredible talent and just, an incredible talent.
Absolutely. Now, Kellie, why don't you tell all of our listeners, you've explained why these gentlemen are so important to you, but why do we have them on the show today?
Well, I'm particularly excited to have them today because these two are the ones that are responsible for causing the album, The House That Bradley Built, to happen. They came up with the idea, they conceived it, they birthed it, and they're entirely responsible for it. And it's one of the great honors for me and my family to have people that not only recognize Brad and love Brad, but put into action the love that they have for him. And for me, that's a really huge thing. It's one thing to say, it's a whole nother thing to do. And these guys have done that. So we're super excited. The album just went on pre-order on Friday, December 4th, and it's going to release on January 15th. We get 2 singles released every single week. I'm so excited for everybody to hear the album. It's not just that the songs are great, which they are. It's not just that the performances are great, which they are, but there's so much love behind each and every cover that the artists did it out of the love of their heart, and they chose the songs because they were meaningful for them. And then, Paul and Yesod put this all together. And so it really has been a labor of love and something that I'm super proud of and super honored by. And that's why we have them today.
And that's super exciting. Now, Yesod, before we get into Pepper's cover of Date Rape that just came out, and before I fanboy out too much and tell you what a huge Pepper fan I am, explain to absolutely, man. Explain to us a little bit about Law Records. You guys put this out. How did Law Records come about? Give us a little backstory.
Yeah, no problem. The long kind of story, long short, My dad had a band called The Law that was back in the early '80s. It was a hair metal band, kind of, I guess, and they were their name was The Law, and that's where the logo comes from, which is like that chiseled stone logo that you see, which is like our OG logo, I guess, our flagship logo, you could call it, Paul. I think you would agree.
Absolutely.
And he started the band in 1980 about, and put out their record in 1983 and self-released it on Law Records. They disbanded very quickly after that, and my dad went on to raise me, etc., have a life. Then around 2003, we as Pepper were on Warped Tour, and we're huge fans of Epitaph, of Fat Records, of all the independent record labels of the 90s. Actually, when I first heard the Sublime's cover of The Descendants' Hope, I assumed they were on Epitaph. And then I later found out about Skunk Records. And so then another one, Skunk Records, just huge fans and respect of all these artists that had their own labels. So we were on Warped Tour in 2003, and we realized we'd still own the first master of our first record, Given It. And we just had the idea, oh, we have respect for these guys. We should do what they do. Fat Mike has Fat Records. Mr. Brett from Bad Religion started Epitaph. Sublime had Skunk Records. So we need our own label. Oh, perfect. We could take this name from my dad that he did back in the day, but it had a second of life, and then just was kind of like dead in the water right after. And we released that first record of ours. And then we went on to sign the Supervillains. We ended up putting out Iration's first record, Time Bomb, the Ballyhoo record, Daydreams. We put out Pink Crustaceans and Good Vibrations of our record, the Stitches EP. And then a little bit around the early 2010, 2011, we got a deal with Island Records with Pepper. So we kind of went that, like, we put all our attention towards that. Didn't do much with the record label for a few years. Around the Ohana era, as I like to call it, we decided we really wanted to take our destiny back in our own hands. We went full blown with Law Records. A couple years later, we ran into Paul via Mark Lay, who worked for the label, and now we're just running full steam. We're like a real record label now, I guess, is the only way I could say it. And then to give credit where credit's due, Paul was the one that linked up with Kelly over a year ago. This idea was born for the house that Bradley built. Paul even had the idea for the name. I'm just like, let's go. And then it was just this fun, most rad mission of hitting up friends, making new friends, just blowing our own minds. We keep saying this so much that we wake up in the morning and open up our email inbox, and it'll just be like Christmas. We'd be like, oh my god, Milo from Descendants emailed us back. He's gonna do Hope, but like, just mind blowing things every day. So, and then to think about who we're doing it for, like this is for Bradley, for Sublime, for the Knowles. Like, I can't even. I always go back to the 12-year-old self version of myself, and I'm like, I can't believe this is happening right now. So yeah, it's just amazing. So much fun.
I understand that feeling.
Yeah, it's amazing. I could just talk forever about how much fun it is, and then there's such a good cause. I have a background with addiction and whatnot, so it's like to be able to help on that level, and it's the most awesome onion with so many good layers to it that, yeah, let's peel this thing apart, and it's just been so much fun.
Well, on behalf of the fans, I have to thank both of you gentlemen, because this has really been awesome to be able to hear these songs and have them done by bands that were either influenced by Brad or, guys like Half Pint and Bert Suzanka, who, where Brad was influenced by them. It really means a lot to us as the fans, and to hear these songs done and everybody kind of putting their own twist onto them. It's just something that is really special for us, and you can see how much everybody really enjoys it. So on behalf of the fans, we certainly thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, we're fans as
Yeah,
well. So
totally.
it's like we feel you're preaching to the choir,
Yeah.
brother. We're like, oh my God, as a Sublime fan, hearing all these people's version, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, it's certainly been a joy for us, and again, I totally understand how you feel. I was hanging out with some friends, we had some music playing, and it was a reggae Spotify channel, and a Pepper song actually popped up. It might actually have been a Sublime channel, and a Pepper song popped up, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be talking to this guy for the podcasts coming up. It's so I totally understand. Kelly, Pepper's Date Rape was just released. It's available on YouTube. You guys can check that out. Um, what did you think when you heard the song?
I loved it. Honestly, every cover that I've heard, I've loved because they're all interpretations by each artist, and I like that we still get the flavor of each artist in there, but they're still true to the song. And so every time a new track has come out, I get so excited to hear it and see what the artists have done with it. And I love Pepper's cover of Date Rape. I think it's awesome. I think there's a couple fun little surprises in there, and it makes it a lot of fun for sure. I'm curious, Paul, where did you come up with the idea for doing the album?
Well, I guess so. We could go back to when you and I met at Cali Roots. I remember having a long conversation with you and kind of sharing my story with Sublime and growing up with listening to Brad. And I remember telling you, like, all right, we're in the middle of a Pepper album right now. We have a lot going on, but I really want to get involved and I want to help out and do whatever we can. But I just can't do it right now. I was like, I'm going to surface at some point when all this stuff comes, and I'll circle back. And so, and then, in that interim time, kind of had the idea and was talking with Yesod and Kaleo and Brett from Pepper. And we were like, hey, like, why don't would you guys be into doing an acoustic version of one of these songs, of a Sublime song? We could put it out and just have the proceeds from the song go to the foundation. And everyone's like, yeah, that sounds amazing. Like, let's do it. He's like, well, why stop there? Let's have everybody on Law do it. And then we're like, as we started asking everybody on Law, we're like, well, why stop there? Let's just start asking other people. I'm like, well, we could even go to the people that did the song originally that Brad covered. Maybe they'd be into doing it. And we're like, so it just was this organic experience of why stop there? Let's keep going. And I know this guy at this person, and Yesod knows everybody and knows, the entire music scene in some capacity. The degrees of separation are so small. So we kind of had an idea and we would just go with it. And it's like, we started out with an idea of, like I said, with like the Law roster doing a song, and then it morphed into 50 songs that are getting turned in, and it like just quickly became very evident, like as everyone who's a Sublime fan knows and is aware how monumental they were into the scene. Just everybody was so excited and enthusiastic about doing a song. So that's kind of how it came about, and then it just kind of morphed into its own thing as well too along the way, which was really cool to see.
You know what amazes me the most, and it's just a very practical thing, is how you found the time to do it. Because this has been a major undertaking. And honestly, I mean, I know you were already busy. I don't know how you find the time. And I feel like we need to give a big thanks to your wife, Michelle, and to your daughters, because I'm sure a lot of that time is taken away from them. And so we definitely appreciate the sacrifice they've made.
Yes.
But you are a very hardworking man.
Thank you. It's a passion, and just like Yesod said about being a fan, like it's this crazy connection of passion and work and helping a good cause, where it's just this positive thing. So there's I have a daughter who's turning 2 tomorrow and a 4-year-old as well. So we do a lot of our working in the early mornings and late at nights. So that's when I do a lot of things. But yes, it was a lot of work, but it was the work that you want to do. Like Yesod said, it's like you open up the email. Hey, did you see that email yet? Oh, that new the demo just came in for this track. Like, oh my gosh, you got to hear it. Like, it was exciting. It was so fun. I would send them to my wife Michelle, and we would talk about them. Like, oh, did you hear that? Like, what'd you think? And it was like Christmas, hearing all these songs reimagined and knowing, some people saying, what do you think? Like, should this song have should we have the djembe in it, or should we have drums in it? And we're like in some way producing in some capacity, like saying like, let's tone it down a little more. It was like this crazy mind blowing process of being a part of that, where like it's funny, this album, I look at it and I see so much pride, and I'm like, I helped create it. And it's like, I didn't really create anything, I didn't record the songs, as the catalyst to kind of help get assets turned in and things, but I didn't make anything. But I also know that it, like, we helped make it happen. So it's this really just proud moment to see it. In September, when the LP came out, that was amazing. And then this past Friday, on December 4th, to have the Deluxe edition announced and out into the world, and just kind of letting the world know what we've been working on, and all this hard work was a really special moment.
Yeah, I've heard from a lot of people that they especially appreciate it during this time. This year's been so hard for so many people with COVID, and all of the drama that has brought along with it.
Yeah.
So not only is it a phenomenal album, but it comes at a time where it really gives a lot of hope and a lot of joy to people, and that's pretty special too.
It's been amazing, and I mean, ultimately, like, all the gratitude goes to the bands that
Absolutely.
that offered their time and their talents, because they just destroyed these songs.
Yeah.
They did such amazing versions of them, and you can tell nobody phoned anything in. Everybody really wanted to do their best, and it shows. And so it was like, hearing all of these songs, I was like, whoa, so it was, I mean, thank you to everybody involved with all the bands that turn in the music endlessly, and are supporting the cause, and a rad cause that it is, and very important. So ultimately the gratitude goes to them, but it was, it's just been an amazing process to be a part of. And, I can't thank you enough too, as well, for, letting us, it's such an important, like, we wanted to make sure that we were very careful and honored the music and the work and the name, the legacy. And so, for trusting in us to do that, and thank you for that as well too, because it's incredible to be a part of. And hearing these songs is just, to know that they're going to be having their own life further down the road too, and hopefully introduce, like, maybe people didn't know that Hope was a Descendant song, and go figure it out, like that part of the idea,
that first time that we sat down and you told me about your idea, one of the things that I was really trying to judge was the kind of person you were, because, as you said, protecting the legacy is extremely important to me, obviously, and I wanted to make sure that it was to you too. And over the course of that, hour and a half that we spent together, I was struck with the fact that you weren't just doing this because you thought it would be cool, but you were genuinely doing it because it was something that was important to you and that meant a lot to you, and that you would protect the legacy. And that means that's a great deal.
Thanks. Yeah. And for all of us, like, I can't speak for everybody, but I know all the guys with the label and the band, like, all just saw the importance, and, and an opportunity to really, like, shine on the importance of what Brad meant and Sublime meant to the community that is really, thriving right now. American reggae scene is just doing so well. And, reggae, Brad didn't invent reggae by any means, but he helped, shine a light on it in a mainstream component that maybe wasn't there before. And it introduced and brought in a wave of all kinds of talents. And it's just, it's really, an honor to highlight what he did, and then also what all the bands that are kind of carrying the torch still, with who he influenced. So it's just it's a crazy, it's amazing. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a huge, when all the bands, and we let everyone know that we're doing this, it was such just a snapshot of what a beacon of inspiration Brad continues to be throughout, and grows, and the inspiration grows and grows. Because just, you'd see the bands talking that are on the comp about, I can't wait to hear your version. Oh, look, what did you do with this, or what did you do that? So it's just the good vibes that are created through it, and just that, like I said, the beacon of inspiration that Bradley's created, and that just continues to just permeate just so much radness off it, was, I don't know, I guess we were able to tap into that a little bit and accentuate it, and it's just such proof, and the proof is in the pudding, because all the songs are so rad, and all the versions are so cool.
Okay, Paul, if I'm getting this straight, it sounds like initially you were thinking maybe you were going to have an album, like a regular album. You're going to have 10 or 12 songs on there, and here you are 50 artists later, all wanting to be a part of this. And a reminder to everybody, this was donated time. They weren't looking to cash a check or to make some money. They were doing this. It all benefits the Knoll Family Foundation to help get Bradley's house built. Kelly, how overwhelming is it for you guys that all of these years later, Bradley still means so much that this is what you ended up with 50 artists?
It's really hard to comprehend, and I'm not going to lie. It's mind blowing. But I go back to the same thing that I think every time somebody tells me how much Sublime's music has meant to them. I wish Brad was here to see it. I wish that all these years later he could see the impact of his music and the impact of his life. And so it's definitely bittersweet for me. But you know, in the midst of the pain, there's this really just beautiful thing that's growing. It's like this, you know, beautiful flower growing out of the ashes, not to be too dramatic, but honestly, that's really how it feels, that this whole thing has been created as a tribute to him and to Sublime, and that legacy, that portion of his life is continuing on and still impacting people 25 years after his death is really, really remarkable.
Yeah, it's amazing. And Paul, how shocked were you guys when you got to the point where you're like, wow, we've got 50 songs here?
Early on, it became like we were starting. Okay, it's gonna 10 songs. Okay, I think now we got we got a vinyl. Now we got, and then it was like, no, I think we got double. And then now we're gonna have to figure out which songs we're gonna pick. Okay, now we have so many songs, we're not gonna be able to put them all on one release. Like, okay, now how are we going to do this? You know, we kind of constantly
a lot
change.
of pivoting
and you know, and then also too, originally I think the plan was to have it out in May of this year, and
around Cali Roots,
because a lot of the bands that were on the first release in September were playing Cali Roots, and we thought there would be some cool activations we could do, and so, but then COVID hit, and so then we had to pivot it again. But as the songs came in, it definitely were like, well, you know, everybody's donating their time, and I know, Kelly, you were very adamant about this too. Is like everybody that does this, like we really want to, you know, honor them as well too, or like we have to put it all out. So like, how can we figure out a way to do that and make it, you know, interesting and to not just drown? Because I mean, you know, it's hard enough to put 10 songs out and get people to listen, and even if it's you know, the biggest artists, it's just hard because there's so much content nowadays, let alone if you're going to do 55. So we came up with the idea of doing 24, you know, doing the first release, and then having this, like the volume 2, the deluxe edition, incorporating everybody as a way to, you know, really highlight all the bands that took the time and efforts to get a song in. And I think it worked. I think it's been working, you know, like just to be able to make sure that everybody got an opportunity to get some love, you know, because all the songs are amazing. That's the craziest part is there's no duds in the bunch. Everything that people turned in was fantastic.
We had one point where I think like bands were hitting us up at one point. They were like, well, we heard about this comp you guys are doing. Can we maybe throw a song in? And again, just an example of how much inspiration and love just beacons out from anything Bradley did and Sublime. Just, such a rad thing.
Yeah, I told Kelly I did offer to do a rendition of Drunk Driving, and she said she would add it into the notes. So
the secret song at the end of the CD.
Yeah. Right. So I don't, you know, that's okay. I'll wait for the next one. No big deal.
But well, like Rawhide, we couldn't get clearance for it, so we had to take it off.
Right.
That's what we're going with.
Yes.
That's, you know what? I like that story. Print that right there. Now, obviously, the whole reason for the album we talked about was the Knoll Family Foundation and the house that Bradley built and what they're looking to do. We've obviously spoke about several times now. Yesod, you had mentioned that recovery has been a part of your life. Is that something that you're comfortable maybe talking about for a minute?
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so how long have you been in recovery now?
Well, I've been one of the lucky ones that about 3.5 years ago, or actually back up in 2008, my mother passed away from drinking. She pretty heavy drinker my whole life, so that's kind of my main relationship I had with a real detrimental version of addiction. But I'm one of the lucky ones that about 3.5 years ago, I noticed that I was really kind of getting like bad and like starting to drink and not stopping, just not having control over it. I think I started to notice. So I was able to kind of go off of a bad weekend a few years ago. I had a friend that I knew he had quit drinking, and actually he went completely sober for a couple of years before that. So I called him after this real bad weekend I had, and I asked him his whole deal, and yeah, what do you think? And was like, honestly, it was one of the best things I ever did my whole entire life. I told him where I was at. He's like, yeah, definitely seems like you probably need to like maybe make a turn in your life. And this is the thing that hit me so hard. He's like, honestly, I know that you need to quit drinking. And if you don't, the fact that you know and you don't, that'll kill you more than anything if you kind of carry on like this. But anyway,
Wow.
he's like, but I don't want to, but he was like, but I don't want to scare you. He's like, what I did was he took 3 months off. He's like, just take 3 months off. Don't like start drinking after 3 months, but just take 3 months off. It's not like too intimidating. It's like, okay, it's something I can try. So first couple weeks were like, I don't know, it's kind of eggy, but like whatever. I just got through it. And then like after a month, all the colors started to come back. I was surfing like 10 times more than I was, and just I just started noticing that this was the jam. I was like, this whole not drinking thing is the new drinking.
That's a t-shirt. That's a
Yeah,
t-shirt.
So yeah, it just improved everything in my life, and yeah, I guess realized the quality of life just stepped up, and I just started realizing the further I would go with it, which is another thing my buddy Adam told me. He was like, honestly, the more you go down the road of not drinking, it's kind of like this badge of honor, like not in a weird like you're gonna go out and talk about it to everyone and like be like, oh, check me out, I don't drink, but it's just kind of like you're proud. And I started noticing it. I was like proud when I would start going out and like not drink. I was like, yeah, this is like, it was strengthening to me. It was like fully empowering and whatnot. And also just the whole fact of like honoring my mother that passed away and whatnot. And so, yeah, it just made sense. And always to this day, it keeps getting better every day. And also, I hear what my buddy Adam was saying, and is absolutely one of the best decisions I've ever made in my whole entire life, quitting drinking. So.
Wow, that's a really awesome story, and I'm certainly happy that you were able to get there. I think something similar happened to me, although I don't know if I ever had a problem, but I got what was called old, and I would wake up in the morning and
Everyone's
realize. Yeah, I would realize I no longer could just get up and go right to work, and my head would pound. I said, I'm just not going to do this anymore. But no,
Yeah.
it's great to see that, and I'm sure that's a big part of this to be able to do that and know that Bradley's House is going to be specifically for those in the music industry, because I think being focused to that is something that's going to be really important. Now, everybody's waiting for this album. You guys are releasing. You're giving it to us a little at a time. I've messaged Kelly several times. I've sent fake emails from fake companies. She's not giving up the songs, but I've tried everything. So I'll wait patiently, just like everybody else is. Is there one? Obviously, I know you guys love every song, and I'm not even going to ask a favorite because I'm sure you don't have one. But for all three of you that have heard this, I want everyone to give me one song that you think is just going to really blow the fans away, a shocker, one that's out there that's just like, wow. Give me one song.
Kelly, you want to go first?
Oh gosh, I hate this.
It doesn't mean that you like it more.
Deluxe
It
edition
doesn't.
or
The
already
deluxe
out?
edition, because we've heard,
The deluxe.
I think a lot of us have heard it on the deluxe edition, on everything.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't mean that you like it anymore or that you're favoring it anymore, but just one song that you would be like, wow, wow.
This is so hard because like 14 songs come to mind.
Yeah.
But I will say I'm really excited for everybody to hear Mike Pinto's cover of Superstar Punani.
Mm-hmm.
He does such a killer job, and they all do. I hate picking, and it's definitely not. It's just there's so many that are so good, but I really think he does such an incredible job, and the guitar on that, and he really nails it. And it's a song that not as many people are familiar with. It's definitely not one of the mainstream Sublime songs, but he does such a great job of it and really brings it to life in a fresh way. And I'm excited for everyone to hear that.
It's a deep cut.
Yeah.
It is a deep
Yes,
cut. Yeah.
yes.
It's
I
a
got
deep
one.
cut. Okay.
So I want everyone to hear the Iration version of DJs because it was one recorded at our studio, Conatown Recording. And it was also, I drug Adam straight from our surf trip. We'd just flown back from Oaxaca, and I drug him straight to the studio to track that song. So I was there in the recording. We were fresh from Mexico. It was at our studio, and they crushed the version so hard. So
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have a blast with Iration's version of DJs.
Good call.
Yes, that is a great one too. And I'm gonna have a two-part to this answer. From the first
It's
half.
cheating.
I know. Okay. Well, all right.
Cheating.
Well,
Don't
then,
say
all right.
that.
Well, then
Oh my gosh.
the one part will be then the pacifier version of Greatest Hits.
I was going to go there first. So
Is
Nice.
amazing. They like put their own spin on it. It does justice to the original song, which is one of my favorites. And it's just in true Sublime fashion, they own the song in their own right. It's just really cool.
And they're a former Law Records artist as well. In that
Yeah.
first wave of Law Records I talked about with Iration and Ballyhoo, Pacifier, we released a couple of their albums as well. So they're alumni. I
Yes,
guess you
So
could
many
say.
alum. Yes. But that is definitely the one that sticks out the most. But again, not to take anything away from any of the other ones, all of them are fantastic. But that one definitely stands out. And then the Mad Caddies version of New Song on the first one is
So good.
It's definitely like it's so good.
Yeah.
I just talked about on the last podcast with Taddy Saad that Date Rape is a song from the catalog that I always tried to avoid just because I'm, an overweight, light-skinned guy with blue eyes. So I always got a funny look. And now you have reintroduced this into the world and forcing me to listen to it and play it for others. So
Light skin, light blue eyes, a double chin and a plastic smile. Well,
thanks a lot, man.
No problem. Hey, we got to understand though, Brad was telling a story about someone else. We're not agreeing with this or anything. It's just a story. It's so funny though, because in the 90s, like I said, I heard Sublime first on Momentum 2, and that was a surf video by Taylor Steele, and their version of Hope was on it. And then it was all, you guys heard that Date Rape band? Did you guys hear that band? So it was this huge, not viral, but for back then, word of mouth viral thing and it just was like this. And then like when you heard 50 Cent, oh, he's that guy that got shot 9 times, and it just went absolutely viral, word of mouth. So yeah, I was talking to Brett the other day when we did a Instagram live thing about it, and we were talking about that same thing, and Brett was yeah, it was actually the first song he ever heard from Sublime, and it was the video when he saw the video that's got Ron Jeremy at the end, and it's just so, good art divides,
Yeah.
But so it was just so I think momentous or momentous for us to do Date Rape. It made a lot of sense.
It made a lot of sense.
I think momentumitary.
Yeah.
I make up
Education.
Roads.
I make up fake big words in our work group chat sometimes to see if I can throw Kelly and Anna off because they're much smarter than I am. So sometimes
Like, throw a couple
I
more
sneak them in
syllables on
there. Yeah, you know what I mean? If there's a silent P. Yeah, no, the album is great. I can't wait to hear all of these versions of this. Now, if somebody's looking to pre-order the album, Paul, or they want to pick up the first release, where can they go to do that?
Well, they can, you can do it anywhere, all through the classic channels. It's available on Amazon, through our store, shop.law-records.com. We have shirts and posters. We have the vinyl that was released in September. We repressed that. That's available. So that's the ideal spot, but they're available, however people want to support. even if it's just talking about it to people and sharing it and watching it on YouTube or whatever. I think just what's been really cool about the entire process of how the album was created was very organic. It feels like the reception is organic. I see people posting in bands Facebook groups, have you heard this song, or I just discovered this one, or Kelly, you and I were talking about how people discovered Vaughn Aaliyah from her cover of the Ballad of Johnny Butt, which was a Secret Hate song, another great version. Yeah. Where that discovery is happening very organically, and I think all of that is rad. And so wherever you consume music, it's available.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about the album is that it is bringing attention to the artists and exposing them to a whole new audience that maybe they didn't have access to before, which I think is a lot of what Sublime's music has done too, is brought new audiences to a lot of these different artists. And so I love that this album is doing that too. I think that's really powerful.
Absolutely. You don't know how much old reggae that I found out through Sublime and Brad because of maybe just the line that wasn't even on one of the albums. Maybe it was on a live bootleg show that I listened to, and I was like, because just being such a diehard Sublime fan, I was like with a fine-tooth comb over any live recording or anything, and he'd just go out on maybe sing 2 lines, and I'd be like, what are those? What is that? Is that a song I haven't heard? Like, what's going on? And then find out, oh no, it's from this Tenor Saw song. Then I hear the Tenor Saw song, and it just so yeah, it's again that beacon of inspiration.
Yes. We all did our deep dive homework with Sublime. I remember anybody, the hardcore fans were around with SublimeArchive.com. I downloaded hours of bootlegs and versions that were that exact same thing where I was like, well, I never heard that. Where did that come from? Or there's a different drum beat on that one. Who's playing drums on that? And try to find all that out. And so that was
all right, well, cool. Then let me put you guys both on the spot. Other than absolutely deep stuff that you've gotten off the archives that may not be out there anymore, but recommend something that we could go on YouTube, a live show, something that somebody should go find that they may not know. If they're just familiar with the basic Sublime studio albums, what should I go on YouTube and look up?
There's one at the Palace. The live show at the Palace, that there's been a bunch of bootleg. I mean, it's kind of one of the more popular ones, but it's one of the best quality recorded shows. They're playing very well. So that or any of the House of Blues Hollywood shows are really good too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a deep diver. I'm not gonna lie. So like that 3-disc box set that came out in 08, 07, something like that, where it had radio interviews with the band. I've combed through all of that. There's a video on YouTube where I think it's at like the Lost House. Have you ever seen that one? Where he follows Brad into a room and he's talking about records. He's talking about something like that. Is really like, I was really hungry for those kinds of things because I wanted to know what inspired Brad, like what, where his headspace was at when he was talking about music. So that's a good video if you're looking for that.
See,
How good is the Warped Tour? Sorry to cut you off, brother. How good is the Warped Tour footage, though, of No Doubt, where Gwen tells Brad, you look cute, and Brad's like, I'm prosperous.
Slaps his belly.
Yeah.
Well, I sent Kelly that video. You go back and watch that video again. Lou Dog bites Gwen.
No,
in that video, wow.
I promise you. Yeah, she, Brad. Oh, you know what? That was Brad came out for Secret Hate, Brad came out and for Total Hate. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm looking. So Brad came out for Total Hate, and he started kind of hopping around like he did, and Gwen kind of leaned in to sing with him, and Lou Dog wasn't having that shit.
He's protective.
Yeah.
And there's also the Palace. Is that the one that has the Sublime's version of "Pass Me the Laser Beam"?
Yes,
the Don
it
Carlos
is.
Song. It is, right?
It is. And
Amazing.
See, my personal favorite is Memories. And that was, I think, in '94 up in Washington, and the boys were on fire that night. And that's that is one of the longer shows that are available on YouTube, and it's one that I absolutely love.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. But that's one of those Pass Me the Laser Beam, same thing. I heard that and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I was like, Don Carlos from Black Uhuru, and then then it led me to Don Carlos's all his solo radness.
Well, that's what made Sublime so awesome. And, you'd listen to a live show and, 1 second Brad could be, doing Romantic Girl, and then he'll, bust into, Hope. So it was just,
Or
and
Bad
I
Brains
think,
too.
yeah, I love that so much about him. It's so funny because every episode I gawk over him and Sublime, and I know Kelly's sitting there thinking, this is just my stinky brother. I don't even know what you guys are, right? You're the little
She's just
sister.
nodding her head. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is, he used to, kick me off the couch watching Saturday morning cartoons, and you guys think he's so cool. But I do. So
No, it's true. It's hard to see him as anything but my brother, but I think it's super great that you're also impressed by him.
yeah, I thought it was funny that you brought up Lost House, because I actually it wasn't that long ago in the group chat I mentioned, what do you, I'm more popular than fucking Chicken. What do you, I'm the lead singer of Sublime. What are you interviewing him for? So it was, I think that's amazing that you guys dive in that deep, and obviously being huge fans shows in an amazing album. So again, on behalf of the fans, we can't thank you enough for this.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Honored. We're honored.
Yeah, definitely. And we did try to go and get, we reached out to Toots before he passed to try to do 54-46 as well too.
Yeah.
We really did try to take care with all of the song selections. We got Falling Idols to do their song Falling Idols that Brad did and Sublime did, and we really, like I said, that we really tried to be as protective and as careful with the whole thing.
Yeah.
So as
That's
fans,
why when we got the Descendants to do, and knowing that Descendants is one of Brad's favorite bands of all time, it was like, it just felt so special.
definitely.
Well, again, it's an album that everybody needs to check out. Again, they're starting to release some out. We had Pepper with Date Rape. What was the release date on that? December 4th?
4th. Yes.
Yep.
And what can we look out for, and what's coming out next?
Iration DJs is coming out next on the 11th with Joe Sambo's version of 54-46 Ball and Chain. And then the following one will be Cashed Out Slow Ride and Pacifier Greatest Hits. So all of those will have been either out or announced, which are just all such good songs.
They're really
great songs.
Yeah. The other first single that was released last week was Shane Hill's cover of Under My Voodoo. And that was my experience of discovering someone new from this album. When I first heard that, I was floored. I love his reinterpretation of the song. I love everything about it. And that caused me to get into Shane's music and introduce me to all of that, which I think is so great. So I actually got to experience that on a personal level too.
What did Miguel say? Miguel's like, oh, right on. He made lyrics for this song. because the original version's such like freestyle scatting kind of thing. And we were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, like he definitely filled in some words there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, like you said, making it his own.
Making
Yeah.
it his own.
It's
Yeah.
great.
And Shane is just a powerhouse. He's so good, and he's just an incredible guitarist. And like that, when he turned that version in, it was like, whoa! It was like goosebumps kind. Like,
Yeah.
wow, this is an incredible version of
Yeah.
this song.
When it came out on Friday, I have a friend I've been telling about this version and knew he was so excited to hear it. So as soon as it came out Friday morning, I was Googling or sending him the Spotify link to it. And he was
Isn't
so
that
stoked
rad
to
you can
hear
do that
Yeah,
nowadays. You
I
send
loved
a link
it.
for
I
a
loved
song.
it. Yeah, it was great. But yeah, that was a big day. It was like, finally it came out. Okay, I can share it.
Yeah, we absolutely we love it, and we're really looking forward to the rest of these releases. And then the full album is available when?
January 15th.
Aloha Friday.
Aloha Friday. Yes. 2020 will refine us, not define us.
Yes.
There you
Right.
go.
So-
I
Yes.
like that.
yes. I can't claim credit for that one. That one's from. I heard
Those from
Yesod.
IG Live.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
good. Very good.
But we're gonna bring in a new year with that, and hopefully, a lot of good vibes with the deluxe release.
Absolutely, and we're certainly looking forward to it. Guys, this was an awesome conversation about this album. Again, guys, it's The House That Bradley Built. There is a pre-sale going on right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you guys can hop over to lawrecords.com and get this album. You can also pick up the House That Bradley Built merchandise. They've got t-shirts and posters, so check them out, lawrecords.com. All proceeds going to the Knoll Family Foundation. And guys, I think it's absolutely awesome that you're doing that and able to help out in such a huge way.
I do want to say it's actually Law Records. It's law-records.com
Yes.
when you go look for it. Not to step on you a little bit there, but being the detail person that I am, I want to make sure everybody can find it. Law-records.com. And not only can you get the House That Bradley Built there, but you can also get all the other Law Records albums as
Shane
well.
Hall.
Shane Hall, for
There
instance.
you
Yes.
go, right?
Yes.
Vonalia.
Yeah,
All kinds of-
Vonalia,
there's a
Cash
lot.
Down.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of gold
Pepper,
there.
for
A lot of
instance.
gold there. Yeah, Pepper too.
Law-records.com. That's all we're saying.
That's what we're getting at. And
So
can I just-
is it dash or hyphen?
It's a dash.
both?
Or what's
A hyphen is a dash.
A hyphen is a
Yeah.
dash,
He's just
man.
trying to confuse us now. He's just trying to confuse us.
Do you guys say exclamation mark or exclamation point?
Point.
Point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a right answer?
West Coasters.
And can I just say too, sitting here in my dad's kitchen with these two, anytime I'm in the room with them, I feel so much cooler than I really am. And I'm sitting here watching as people walk by on the boardwalk and thinking, wow, they must be going, who is she? Why is she like hanging out with those two?
Is that just
But-
because Santa showed up?
It might be.
earlier?
Yeah.
When we're-
Right when we were starting,
Literally.
Santa and Mrs. Claus walked
Yeah.
by.
Yes.
But yeah, they were definitely impressed as well. But and they really do raise my cool level.
Oh, thank you.
The same.
We
It's-
feel the same
No,
way. Yeah.
It's
not
just
the
a good. It's just a circle of good energy when we're
Yes.
all hanging.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll accept.
Well, we had a lot of fun today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, before I let you guys go, anything else you want to plug? Anything going on that we should keep an eye out for outside of this project? Anything you want to talk about? Feelings, concerns? We're here.
We need to do another episode for my feelings and concerns. But no, just a
How much
whole
time
bunch
you
of How much time you got? Just a whole bunch of rad stuff with Law Records that includes a new Pepper record. We're in the middle of making a new record, like Paul said. 2020 will refine us, not define us.
Yes.
So we went back into the studio because we couldn't tour, and that's on the way. We've got a couple new artists that we're going to be announcing at Law Records soon, and Vonalia record. Sideways record, Tunnel Vision record,
Cashed out.
record. So tons of super rad new music coming up in 2021. And hopefully touring picks back up because we have a tour with Slightly Stupid planned for next summer in the Common Kings. And speaking of Pass Me the Laser Beam, the legendary Don Carlos.
Yes.
So, yeah, but other than that, I'm just going out on my 13-foot Boston Whaler and just trying to keep it real out there on the Pacific Ocean, you know?
Yeah, no, it sounds awesome. Now, guys, before I let you go, we've done this with every guest so far. We'll start with you, Paul. If you and I just met and I've never heard anything by Bradley Noel or Sublime, and I said, I'll give you an opportunity to play me one song, the one song that's going to hook me. Again, it doesn't have anything to do with your album. This is specifically coming from the Sublime catalog. What would you play for me?
That's a fantastic question.
You better not steal mine.
I won't.
I don't know.
I don't know. If uninitiated, you've been living, your head under a rock somehow, and you haven't heard of Sublime, I would probably play "Foolish Fool" from the acoustic album. That one, just all the feels on that one, and it's just so good, and that one is probably the one that just you can feel all the passion, you can hear the range, you can hear just the influence, it's that, yeah.
Me next?
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
know.
Oh, yeah. No, she doesn't have to do it.
I'm gonna. Yeah, that's true. Or family. Hey, blood family. We're all family.
We are all
right.
Mine would be because, like I said, I heard Hope first, and I thought Sublime was a punk rock band, and then I heard Don't Push on 4 Ounces of Freedom, and it freaked me out in the best way ever. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it didn't put together. It was reggae for a while. So it would be Don't Push, but it would be the secret track version of Don't Push from Robin the Hood, because Brad's got that sick goodbye, good loving, give me lots of good fun. That whole like scat he does at the end. That's different than the 40 Ounces of Freedom one. So there you go.
Great picks. All right, now let's check my memory here. The first episode, we had Kelly and Brad's dad on. He picked Bad Fish, correct?
Yes.
That was your dad's, because he said it was the only one he could play on the guitar.
Yes.
So all the other ones were too complicated, but he could just kind of strum up and down and play that one. So he picked Bad Fish. Week 2 we had Miguel, and he picked April 29th, but it has to be the Leary version. So we've got Bad Fish, April 29th, the Leary version. Last week we had the Z-Man on, and he went with STP. And now we've got a Foolish Fool and Don't Push, the hidden track on Robin the Hood. So I'm having a lot of fun asking these questions and hearing what everybody thinks, and obviously coming from you guys, it's kind of cool to hear.
You got to make a playlist of these as they keep going.
Don't blow up my spot. What do you think I'm doing here?
Right? All of a sudden, it's like.
I mean, what I meant to say was that's a great idea. Don't. I already wrote it down and mailed it to myself. That's an official copyright in this.
It is. Yeah, hold up in court.
No, it's fun for me to hear, and I had a lot of fun with you guys today, and so excited about the release of this album on January the 15th, and I thank you guys for stopping by and giving us some time.
No, thank you for giving us an excuse to talk about Sublime. You're like, hey, give me a time and a place. I'm there anytime.
And I would like to say personally that thank you guys for what you're doing for the music industry, because I do think that you're doing everything with integrity, and that's an unusual quality in any industry, but it seems to be especially in the music industry. So thank you what you're doing for the industry. Thank you what you're doing for the artists that you work with individually, because I know that everything you do, you have their best interest at heart. And again, I think that's an unusual thing to find. I do also think it's a key to why you guys are having success and why you'll have a lot more future success, because I do think that the choices that you're making, that's going to come back to you. And I really appreciate that. And especially thank you for everything that you're doing with the Knoll Family Foundation and Bradley's house, because I just got chills, but we really appreciate you guys very much. So
it's an honor and a privilege, like to be a part of it and to have done this project, and to, we're going to get Bradley's house built. We're going to get it built, and it's going to change lives. And in the process along the way, people are going to discover, and it's going to change lives along the way. And it's so, it's just, it's a great thing, and it's an honor to be a part of. Yes, definitely. Thank you guys.
Yep.
Guys, I think that was awesome. I think we had a fun chat, and I think everything went super, super fun.
Yeah, that was a blast.
Thanks, Jarett.
Yeah, man. Listen, like I said, it's the same thing for me. I see messages pop up on Facebook or in my inbox, and they're like, "Hey, man, thanks for what you're doing," and I'm like, "Thanks for what I'm doing." What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what the fuck? I get to hang out and talk. I get to hang out and talk about Sublime. Are you shitting me? I'm like,
or you start to rack your brain. You're like, what did I do?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you to Anna while you guys are still here. Anna is our audio engineer, and she does such a phenomenal job.
Yes, thank you,
She
Anna.
hides in the background while we're all having fun.
Thank you for making it sound beautiful.
What an amazing conversation we had with Paul and Yesod. Now, guys, make sure you hop over to law-records.com and check out the house that Bradley built and all of the amazing things that they've got going on that they spoke about in today's episode. You guys can check out the releases as they come out and updates on that. You guys can follow the Knoll Family Foundation on all social media. Check out the Bradley House Facebook group. Other than that, guys, we had an amazing time today. I'm Jarett Orr. She's Kellie Noel. And Kellie, have a good night.
Thanks a lot. You too, Jarett.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. And to keep up with the tradition of every other episode, we are going to give you another clip from the house that Bradley built, but this time the deluxe version, available January 15th at law-records.com. Here's Shane Hall and Under My Voodoo.
Being you God is the most I'd have. Can hide your love, it's true. It's the freedom game, you can see it every day, but your freedom ain't free. Come on down now, I know I'm gonna make you come clear. Don't you know it ain't no thing to be for, but you Don't take more than you need. What's under my voodoo? Under my voodoo.
Hello, my name is Tyson with the Knoll Family Foundation, and I wanted to provide some resources to any men and women that need help and are struggling with drug and alcohol abuse. The first one I want to give is the SAMHSA.gov website, and that is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website. And their 1-800 number is 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. And you can always personally reach out to myself. My name is Tyson Sullivan, and you can email me at info@theknollfamilyfoundation.org. I have a lot of resources throughout the whole country, and I can help you get connected for yourself or a loved one that's struggling.